Now, before we start with our first class, let's first create the folders to which we've created the paths and directories for as constants. So let's use the pages, which isn't here yet. Let's create a new folder called pages, mod, new folder mod. What else have we got? Template mod. What else have we got? Template and I and C we have already. We haven't got emails. We create a new folder called emails, and then media. And inside of the media, we need to create the catalog. Okay, so we're all done with the folders. Now if we close our config file, as I said, the first class we will be creating is a class called core. If you open the classes folder, you can see we have already one file there, which is called helper. If you open this file, you'll see there is a class called helper with a public static function called HTML. Now, what static does is it basically allows us to call this specific method without instantiating the class. Instantiation, again, something I will be explaining later on when we get to the point when we using these classes for the first time. You can drop this static keyword and then you would have to instantiate the helper first before using this specific method. And now functions, it is called function, but within the classes we refer to this as methods. But don't worry about this for now, we'll get there at some point and I'll explain this a little bit better. So if we close this file for now, we create a new object, new class called core.php. Inside of this file, we open a PHP tag and we start typing class core, an opening and curly brace. Now within this class object, we will create our first method called run. It will be a public method, which is a function obviously. Run, 2 brackets, then 2 curly braces, and this is our first method, which will be called after we've instantiated the core class. Now, let's open index.php file and instantiate our core class. As you may remember, autoload will automatically call the specific class. Whichever class we are calling, it will automatically require once the file which is actually needed for this specific class. So we create a variable called core equals, and we start with new core, which is the name of our class. We always use 2 brackets at the end. So this way we've instantiated our core class. Okay, so now what we need to do, now that we have instance of our class, on the new line we use core, then hyphen and arrow, right arrow, and now we will call our method. This way we can call this run method. So run and 2 brackets. Now, depending on what is going to happen inside of this run function, our index.php file will display this on the index page. At the moment, if we go to our page, as you can see, we have a blank page, even though we are already calling this specific method. If we go to our core.php file, inside of our core function class, within our run method, let's echo something like, hey, hi, from within run method, and semicolon right at the end. Now if we go to our page, you can see our run function has executed and echoed the string which we've just typed there. So basically, rather than simply going and creating the function and calling this function run and that's it, which would be the way you would be dealing with this if you weren't using object-oriented programming, we're simply using objects, which in this case we need core object, which is our class, and we use our run method to do whatever we want this specific method to do. So if we go back to our core.php, we can remove all this echo string from within our run method. And before we start creating the functions inside of this specific methods and to process actually to display something, I would like to explain a little bit more about the scopes of the functions and properties. Properties are like variables inside of the function. But I'm going to explain all this in the next video.